Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to do a second video on adding and subtracting equations for solving. It's all we're doing today is some practice problems involving some normal, fractions, and decimals. So you get a little bit more comfortable with more example problems. All right, so first, let's start off simple and let's go over let's talk about inverse operations. It's been a weekend, so make sure that you're on the same point. So we're doing adding and subtracting. So inverse operations undo each other. So if you had -6 to get to 0, you are adding 6. That's why they're inverse operations. So number 1. Let's start with something a little more simple. So 19 is equal to x plus 2. So remember, draw a line down where the equal sign is and find the side where the variable is. So variable is on the right side this time. So you're trying to get the variable by itself. You're trying to isolate it. So subtract 2 because this is adding 2, and the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. So you're subtracting 2 from both sides. And you're going to be left with x equals 17. And as always, you can always check your solutions, which is always a good thing. So 19 is equal to 17 plus 2. Remember, we're just replacing that 17 we got as an answer over here. And this is 19 equals 19. So x does equal 2. Let's step it up a little bit now. Do a problem involving decimals. So number 2, x minus 1.075 is equal to 54.1. So equal sign right here. And now you're checking which side is the variable? Variable is on the left side, and it's saying x minus 1.075. So what's the inverse operation of 1.05? Subtracting. It's addition, so you're adding 1.075 to both sides. This goes away, and you're left with x equals. So you're adding these now. So remember the rules for adding and subtracting decimals. You have to line up the decimals, or this does not work. So line up the decimals. Make sure the decimals are lined up. They're on top of each other. And this is an addition. So you could just add zeros over here. So 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 7 is 7. 1 plus 0, 1. Decimal goes right here. 4 plus 1, 5, 5. So 55.175. And again, you can check your answer. So 55.175 minus 1.075. So 55.175 minus 1.075. And notice how I'm lining up the decimals again. 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 minus 7 is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. And this is going to be 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. So you get 54.100, which is the same as 54.1 right there. So this is your answer for the second problem. Oops. Let's do another example problem. This time, let's go even harder. Okay, what I mean by that is let's step it up to fractions. Number 3, fractions. So x minus 2 1/2 equals 4 2/5. So a line down where the equal sign is, x minus 2.2 1/2 on the left side. Inverse operation of subtraction is addition. So 2 1/2. You're adding it to both sides. So you're adding fractions here. So when you're doing 4 2/5 plus 2 1/2, what you can do is add the whole numbers. These two you can add and get 6. So from those two you can get the 6. But you still have to deal with the 2 over 5 1/2. So 2 over 5 plus 1/2. When you're adding fractions, not solving, when you're adding fractions, remember you need a lowest common denominator. Do a lowest common denominator. So lowest common denominator over here between 5 and 2 is 10. So you want 10s over here. So what are you multiplying to 5 to get to 10? You're multiplying 2. So you got to do the same thing to the top. So 2 times 2 is 4. What are you multiplying to 2 to get to 10? 5. So you got to do the same thing to the top. And you get 5. And now the last step is when you're adding fractions, you only add the numerators. So 4 plus 5 is 9. And the denominator stays the same. So it's going to be 9 over 10. And you're just going to bring this over here. And this is going to be 6 9/10. So x equals 6 9/10. That was 3 very different example problems to help you out with adding and subtracting equations. Hope that helped.